So, yeah, it feels really good.
I mean, obviously you're not there because of COVID. I assume you've been in contact with her. How's she doing?
She's been doing pretty well. We haven't talked to her personally because of the time difference, but we have been texting her back and forth, and yeah, they just recently moved her to the Olympic Villa, so we only talked to her through text.
I know you're familiar with the positive test on the team. There are lots of worries among athletes and their parents and the Olympic officials about COVID. Are you worried at all?
Yes, I actually got a lot of texts when somebody found out that there was somebody on the team was positive, but when we found out there was an alternate, so we weren't too worried, but still, yeah, we are worried. My wife especially, she's really worried.
Is Suni vaccinated?
Yes, the whole family's vaccinated except for the little one, and Sunisa's vaccinated. I know that before she left, she had to do like COVID tests every other day. So I'm pretty sure she's okay right now, but never know.
Before she left for the games, what did you tell her? What kind of advice did you give her?
Well, I told her that now, her dream that making the Olympic was hard, but now she is actually in the Olympics. So, she needs to go compete for herself. She's already proved to the community, her family, her friends, and her coach that she is capable of getting there. So now it's time for her to go and do it for herself.
John, how did Suni discover gymnastics?
Well, when Suni was a little kid, she's really hyper. She jumps around all the time. She was able to do like the bridge, and she just like to jump around doing backflip and stuff like that. So we brought her into the gym because one of my wife's friend is the coach at Midwest, and we brought it in just for like a little trial, and they thought that she was good enough to be on a team, so they put her on a team, and that first year, and then she trained over the summer and competed level 4 the following year, and she won state. So
how old was she then?
We brought in at age 6, and then she started competing at age 7.
When did you realize she was a special gymnast?
Well, after the first year when she competed, she won state, and then the second year they jumped her 3 levels, and then after that they put her on the Hopes program, which is the beginning of the elite level, and that's when I thought that okay, well, she might have potential to be in the Olympics. So, we just continue pushing her, helping her, supporting her.
Were you gymnastically inclined? I don't even think that's a word, but we'll pretend it is.
Well, my wife, she played sports when she was younger. I play a lot of sports. I'm very competitive when it comes to sports. And I do a lot of backflips and stuff like that. When I was younger, I used to do flips off the wall, off the ceiling, things like that. But I think her gymnastic skills, I think that's from my wife's side, but the competitive side is probably from me.
I understand that when she was sort of starting out, that her dad was so committed to her success that he actually built a beam in the backyard. Is that true?
Yes, it is, and it's still here. Remember that beam I built for you?
Yes.
Why'd you do that?
Well, the thing is, she don't have a beam. She goes to the gym and she practices, but we don't have a beam here, so
Go!
I couldn't afford a real beam, so I built one out of a 4x4. 6 feet long, and covered it with air mattress, wrap.
Why have you kept it all these years?
I don't know. It just, she don't use it anymore, but it just sitting in the backyard, and then just never threw it away.
I understand that that Suni is making history in Tokyo. She is the first Hmong U.S. Olympian. How proud does that make you?
Yeah, she will be the first Hmong American to be in the Olympic. So, yeah, I am proud. The family's proud. All the community is very proud of her. So, I don't know. It's almost like it's unreal, because yeah, especially in gymnastics where you got the whole country going for this a spot on the team, and there's only 4 spots available. So if she made it, and that's pretty tough, and it makes us proud. I'm very proud of her.
How are you going to watch the games since you can't be there in person? What are you going to do?
We are planning to have a watch party at my brother's house. They volunteered the house for us to watch. We actually at first we wanted to do like a community watch party, but since the time difference and all the games are gonna be really early in the morning, I don't think that's possible. So we are gonna go to my brother's house and watch the game with the family.
John, do you still get nervous? Do you get nervous watching Suni even after all these years?
Yes, I do get nervous, but I don't show it. I know my wife gets nervous, and I could see that, and I try not to show it, but I do. Deep inside me, I do get a little nervous, especially when she does the beam, because that platform is very narrow and it's high, so I do get a little nervous.
But she's been doing it for so many years now. I mean, how can you still get nervous?
Everybody gets nervous when a kid gets up on those events. Especially you want to make her, you want to see her do well. You don't want her to make any mistakes, and then of course you get a little nervous.
Double full.
But once they're done, then you get relieved.
Tonight, we're on the scene as the urgent search for survivors is underway after the deadly collapse of a high-rise building.
Buildings don't fall down in America like this.
The Delta variant. What does this mean for people who are fully vaccinated?
NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
Sometimes the news can be difficult and overwhelming for kids to understand.
Will coronavirus come back next year?
So to help make sense of it all, we've created a newscast just for them. Man, you know a lot. We hope your family will watch Nightly News Kids Edition.
Good morning. Welcome to Today. Future's looking bright.
We are going to be cheering you on all the way.
Oda is going to renew their vows right here. Cheers to you. Cheers. We've been watching Chanel bust a move all morning.
New meaning to the expression rise and shine.
Jenna, nearly 2 miles in the air. This is amazing! Yes!
Your Gampy would be so proud.
Oh, thank you, Al. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Today. Future's looking bright.
Are you ready?
We're going to do our part to spread the word on the importance of vaccines, so crucial for reopening America.
A big day around here, a very special naturalization ceremony.
Many of them doctors, nurses, other essential workers.
If you are a nurse, thank you.
Spring has sprung, guys, and we want to fill this season with some fun and surprises.
Yes.
This is the face of excitement. Celebrating Earth Day.
Let's change the world. Love it! Your daughter has called you her biggest cheerleader. I have read and heard that she draws inspiration from Dad. Why do you think that is?
Well, her journey to the Olympic, I was always with her most of the time because of my other kids at home. So my wife had to stay home with her. So I travel with her to all her meets or competitions, and we joke around a lot. And every time she go compete, I always talk to her and say, hey, don't worry about it, or just have fun, things like that. Because she's always get nervous, and she always tell me that, ooh, this girl is so good. She don't think that she's gonna do better than her, but I always have to tell her that it's okay. You will do better, and then, when she come out on top, she's happy. So,
how do you think that your accident inspires her?
When I got hurt, I didn't think that she would actually. She wasn't gonna go, because she and her coach came to the hospital, met me, and when I told him to just go ahead, because she worked so hard for her. So when she left, I didn't expect her to feel that she had to do it for me, but then she did, and she said she know that my accident is worse than her winning or losing on the team, so she did it for me. That's what she said, and I think that, and since then she just continued wanted to do it for me. So I'm proud of that. I'm happy that she competed for me.
Let's talk about the accident for just a moment, John. Can you take me back to that day? What happened?
Well, it was a Sunday, and me and a bunch of my friends, we just got done playing golf, and we went to a friend's house to help him trim a tree down, so then he could set up a tent for his daughter's wedding the following week. And because it was a simple trim, I didn't expect to, I was careless pretty much. I was up in a tree, trimmed the tree, and when it broke, it whiplashed and hit me, and I fell off the ladder and head first. So that caused that. Then I went to the hospital and that's how I got hurt.
What's been the hardest part of the injury?
The hardest part about the injury is that, because if it's a spinal injury, the hardest part is that I can't utilize anything below my chest. I'm paralyzed from chest down. So that, and also the fact that I'm always so outgoing. I've been, I fixed a lot of things around the house and cars, things like that. So things that I can't do. I know how to do it, but I can't do physically. That is the hardest part, and I get frustrated sometimes. But, I gotta learn how to cope with all that.
How's the rehab going?
Rehab's been going pretty good. My upper body, I could do a lot of stuff with it. My hands are getting stronger. My balance is not so great, but I'm learning how to cope with that. I volunteer for a program called eStand, where they inserted a stimulator in my back, and when I turned the machine on, I could actually move my legs a little bit.
Wow. Do you think that you'll walk again?
I don't know. With the technology that we have right now, I hope so. If not anything, if I could stand up or just move a few feet, I would be happy. But I'm hoping that with the eStand and also, with all the technology, maybe someday I will be able to walk. That's my hope.
So you'll watch your daughter compete at the Olympics in Tokyo, and as you're watching her, what will you be thinking?
As I watch her, I'll be thinking, if she bring home a couple of medals, hopefully a couple of gold, that would be so great for the family, the community, and for the USA.
Yeah. I mean, do you think she'll compete again after this, or do you think this will be her first and her last?
Well, I talked to her before she left, and she really wanted to do college gymnastics. So I'm hoping that she, after the Olympic, she only got 3 more years before the next Olympic. I was hoping that she continue on, but as far as I know, she wants to do college gymnastics. She wants to go to college and compete. So it's up to her.
You're not going to be there because of the virus. I assure you, your daughter is going to watch this interview on the Today Show. What do you want to say to her? What do you want her to know?
Well, one thing for sure, I want Sunisa to know that I'm proud of her no matter what happened. I'm behind her, her family's behind her, the community's behind her, her fans behind her, and the United States behind her. So whatever she does, we are all proud of her. Just go out there, have fun.
John, what's the secret? How do you rear a daughter to become a U.S. Olympian?
I don't think there's really a secret. I mean, I talk to her, I motivate her, and I tell her to do good and just follow her heart, have fun. But the real secret is, I think it's her. I think she's pretty natural, so in this sport. So it's all her. Most of it is her.
Good morning. Welcome to Today. Future's looking bright.
We are going to be cheering you on all the way.
Oda is going to renew their vows right here. Cheers to you. Cheers. We've been watching Chanel bust a move all morning.
New meaning. See the expression? Rise and shine.
Jenna, nearly 2 miles in the air.
Your Gampy would be so proud.
Oh, thank you, Al.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Today. Future's looking bright.
Are you ready?
We're going to do our part to spread the word on the importance of vaccines, so crucial for reopening America.
A big day around here. A very special naturalization ceremony.
Many of them doctors, nurses, other essential workers.
If you are a nurse, thank you.
Spring has sprung, guys, and we want to fill this season with some fun and surprises.
Yes.
This is the face of excitement.
Celebrating Earth Day.
Let's change the world.
Love it!
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Tonight, we're on the scene as the urgent search for survivors is underway after the deadly collapse of a high-rise building.
Buildings don't fall down in America like this.
The Delta variant. What does this mean for people who are fully vaccinated?
NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
Our week-long journey begins here in Orlando, Louisville, Kentucky, Cleveland. Our Across America journey, reporting on an America rebuilding and reimagining a future after the pandemic. Good evening tonight from Geneva, just hours away from his historic summit. Over 16,000 unaccompanied children tonight in custody. What's victory look like in this, or what does improvement look like? It's going to be a challenge to meet that 70% goal. Why is it so challenging?
NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
The Meet the Press Chuck Toddcast, free wherever you get your podcasts.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Somebody said to me, check out TikTok. I'm like, I am 44 years old. I am not going to roll up on TikTok to mess with these kids.
All right, so what was everybody's favorite and least favorite part of the day?
Meet Jose Rolón, a Brooklyn-based wedding planner and single dad of 3 who goes by the username NYC Gay Dad in viral videos on TikTok and Instagram.
You're making me clean again?
Don't make me destroy you. Parenting 3 kids during the pandemic gave him the creative spark that pushed him to the platform.
LGBTQ rights have been going on for quite some time. But I do think in the parenting space, we really sort of still are at the forefront of that. This was a platform to be able to highlight LGBTQ plus family here that is doing the same things that you do.
Was there a conscious decision to try and use it to break down barriers and shatter myths and preconceived ideas about what fatherhood is?
You know, I grew up with a father who was all about like machismo and, you know, you couldn't talk about your feelings. And so I think one of the things that I wanted to highlight too on social media is as a man, you can be vulnerable.
Growing up, Jose always dreamed of one day becoming the kind of dad that he wished he'd had.
You had this killer smile, beautiful eyes.
After marrying his husband, Tim Merrill, in 2010, it seemed like he was one step closer to making that dream a reality.
When and how did you decide that you were ready to be parents?
When Tim and I met, I think he revealed to me on the third date that he did not want to have children. And I was like, oh man, we're in trouble here, right? Because I knew that I always wanted to have kids. But something happened right after we got married and we were outside of a coffee shop and he said to me, so I want you to know that I've been open to being open to having children. I lost it.
Through surrogacy, the pair welcomed their son Avery into the world in March of 2013.
Tim ended up being this really incredible father. So when we hit 2 months, he was walking out of the room and was holding Avery in his arms. And he's like, babe, I think we should have more children. I was like, what? And we went for it.
The unexpected happened. Their surrogate became pregnant with twins. But 11 weeks into the pregnancy, while his husband Tim was on a trip in Pennsylvania, Jose got a phone call that would change everything.
And I got a call from the Pennsylvania police department. I get on the phone and the detective told me that he had passed away the night before. And it was a heart attack in his sleep. There was so much running through my head, just not only having in that moment dealing with the grieving and feeling numb, but my mind also went to, we're 11 weeks pregnant. My son just lost his father. What if something were to happen to me? I didn't want to leave him alone in this world. So I made a decision in that moment to not only follow through the pregnancy, but I actually announced that we were pregnant while giving my husband's eulogy at a church in front of 300-400 people. Here we are, 7 years later. Now my son is 8, my girls will be 7 next week.
I mean, you ever take a step back and you look at your life and you think, sweet God, what am I doing? 3 children, single dad.
Yeah, look, this ride has been wild. And I think we all go through phases of grieving. Nothing is permanent. I'm aware that this can shift like that. So for me, it's really vital that I stay in this moment and I appreciate it and I'm grateful and I keep moving forward with my kids in the best way that I can so that when those moments come where stuff goes down, hopefully I'll be ready.
I'm rolling up my sleeves for science, so I'll survive if I contract this virus. For family dinners, family vacations, family anything. For traveling somewhere beyond my living room. And for the Rebels, there is no greater feeling than being in the stadium and cheering on Ole Miss. And now it's your turn. Roll up your sleeves, America. Plan your vaccine, because every shot counts. Visit planyourvaccine.com and make your plan.
Sometimes the news can be difficult and overwhelming for kids to understand.
Will coronavirus come back next year?
So to help make sense of it all, we've created a newscast just for them. Man, you know a lot. We hope your family will watch Nightly News Kids Edition. Talent and perseverance, inspiring America.
I've been preparing for a moment like this for my whole life. I have lots of songs and lots of stuff to share.
I want to show my daughter what it's like to overcome adversity.
So many reasons to cheer for that young lady.
NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
Tonight, we're on the scene as the urgent search for survivors is underway after the deadly collapse of a high-rise building.
Buildings don't fall down in America like this.
The Delta variant. What does this mean for people who are fully vaccinated?
NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
Sometimes the news can be difficult and overwhelming for kids to understand.
Will coronavirus come back next year?
So to help make sense of it all, we've created a newscast just for them. Man, you know a lot. We hope your family will watch Nightly News Kids Edition.
Keep going, keep going. Block the shot. Years ago, I used to say, forget about the ponytail and look at them as wrestlers, because there's going to be a point where the ponytail is not going to matter. And we're at that point. Team Alpha is an all-girls wrestling club, started 5 seasons ago. We started out with approximately 9 girls, since have grown to over 50.
An alpha wolf doesn't necessarily have to be an alpha male, right? Female wolf can be the alpha, the leader of the pack. You know, we're not quite leaders just yet on the national scene, but we're getting there.
Participation in girls wrestling has seen a 500% increase since 2001 and is currently sanctioned as a high school sport in 21 states. Team Alpha's home state of New York isn't yet one of these, so girls either wrestle on the boys' team or compete in clubs outside of school.
I have 2 daughters, Kendall, who is 13. She's been wrestling just over 3 years, and McKenna, who is 10, and she's been wrestling a little over 5, and she was probably around 2 or 3. And my wife and I noticed that the only time she ever sat still was when she was either watching wrestling on TV with me or at tournaments.
After watching one of those wrestling tournaments as a 4-year-old, McKenna told her dad something that would change everything.
And I was like, Dad, I want to start wrestling. And then I started wrestling on the boys' team at first, and then Dad made a girls' team.
What do you like about wrestling?
Since I'm wrestling, I feel like I'm tougher.
When you were wrestling with the boys, did you enjoy that?
Yeah, it's fun. When you wrestle them, it's not that intense as it is wrestling a girl.
Why is that?
Because boys aren't that tough. I'd probably do better if I wrestled boys, but I kind of like wrestling girls better because girls don't sweat as much as the boys do when we're wrestling.
As a boy, I'll pretend not to be offended.
Okay.
The girls of Team Alpha range in age from kindergarten to 12th grade, but they all see themselves as part of the same movement.
I feel like it's like partially like a women's rights movement in a way, because we're trying to get like a male dominant sport to also be like our sport.
I've had coaches say girls shouldn't be wrestling, like just, you know, we all hear it, but I kind of block it out or just take it as like motivation to just push myself.
Some of the kids in my class, I'm like, call me a tomboy, but I'd rather be a tomboy than a girly girl, so I like it better than that.
I know it's 2020, but you know that there are still some people who think girls shouldn't be wrestling.
Yeah.
It's not a sport for girls. What would you say to them?
I would say girls can do anything boys can.
We just brush it off until they sanction girls wrestling here in New York, then we'll do what we got to do to get the girls on the mat that want to be on the mat.
Coach Ken started wrestling in 3rd grade, encouraged by his dad, a former high school wrestler who would work double shifts to support their family. Long days on the job prevented him from attending Ken's wrestling matches.
You know, I ran around most of my teens, you know, mad, angry. Why doesn't my dad get to come to all my stuff like some of the other kids? When I started coaching my kids and when they started to get older, I swore I'd never miss anything. So that's what I base everything around. I have to be there.
12, 13, 14.
Ready?
When I'm on the mat and I hear my dad on the side, I know that he loves me and he wants to get me like more into the sport. It's the best feeling a kid could ever have.
He says, be a leader, not a follower, and I always listen to that.
The first step's always the hardest in this sport. Once you take that first step, at the very least, you're gonna learn a work ethic that sticks with you forever. There's nothing wrong with being tough. You know, there's nothing wrong with being gritty. That's what gets it done on the mat. That's what gets it done in life.
Before the girls came along, is this where you thought you'd be?
Never.
It's pretty cool though.
It's awesome. You know, I got 2 blood daughters and 50 more in the club.
Alpha!
We are
Alpha!
4, 5, 6.
Family!
We are cooking up some exciting things this week in the brand new Today All Day Kitchen. Up next on #Cooking, Samadada. We'll show you how to rescue any brown spotty bananas with 2 tasty treats, chocolate chip banana bread bars and a banana cream cheesecake that just happens to be dairy-free.
Welcome to Hashtag Cooking. The next time you see some nearly perished, super ripe bananas sitting on your counter, wondering what will become of their existence, like, will we get thrown away today? Don't toss them, please save them. Rescue the spotty bananas, hashtag save the spotty bananas, and make these recipes. I'm gonna show you 2 of my favorite ways to use those super ripe bananas sitting on your counter. My chocolate chip banana bread bars and my banana cream cheesecake that happens to be dairy-free. Let's get hashtag cooking. Just for 1 second, okay, I want you to forget about those microwave packets of oatmeal. And we're gonna give oatmeal a glamorous moment with these chocolate chip banana bread bars. I've already preheated my oven to 375 degrees, and now all I'm going to do is prepare my pan. So what I've done here, greased it with some coconut oil so our parchment paper doesn't stick, right? So I've got that here. I'm just gonna stick it right into the pan. The coconut oil helps it stick, right? So this is nice. Make sure we're hitting all of the edges of the pan. And what's nice is that we're creating these flaps, okay? The flaps are really nice because when it's done baking, we'll be able to easily lift the batter out of the pan and have our bars all ready. What's great about using super ripe bananas in recipes is that they're naturally a lot sweeter and a lot easier to mash into different recipes. Got 2 here. We're rescuing them. We're giving them a second life, a second chance at life. They love us for this. Throwing the peels away. Gonna peel this one. Like so. Pop that in. See you later. Okay, and now we're just gonna mash. This is kind of where you can get your aggression of the day out into these bananas, okay? I wanna mash them until they're really nice and smooth. And like I said, because they're a bit riper, it's gonna be a lot softer and easier to mash. Not to mention it's gonna impart a lot of that really nice, sweet, ripe flavor of the bananas into this oatmeal bar recipe. And because they're super ripe, we're actually not gonna use a bunch of sugar to sweeten this recipe because it's gonna pull a lot of that natural sweetness from the bananas. Have I convinced you to not throw your bananas away yet? Just wondering. Okay. Really take your time here, like I am. Okay. I want no banana to feel unmashed. I want it to feel all loved and mashed, okay? All right. And you can use a potato masher here if you have that, if you like that utensil for your life. I'm just using a fork because you know what? Forks are accessible. Okay. So this is looking pretty good. I have to compliment myself on my mashing abilities. Looks pretty smooth. And now we're just gonna work on the rest of our ingredients. All right. So in this recipe, I'm using 2 eggs. So I'm gonna crack those both in here. I wanna be that type of person that does like the one-handed egg crack. I'm not that person. I'm safe. I take precautions. All right. Okay, now I'm gonna whisk the eggs and the bananas together. So everything is nice and smooth. Look at those amber yolks. It's pretty nice. Bananas and eggs whisked together. They look nice and smooth, really happy in there. Now I'm gonna add my nut butter. So I'm actually using peanut butter here, but if you have a cashew butter at home, if you have an almond butter, that's totally fine. You do you. Whatever nut butters you're harboring in your pantry. I know I have like a million because I have a problem, but you can use that. I'm gonna slide that straight in there. Now I'm gonna mix that in. All right, and then I'm gonna add my melted and cooled coconut oil, my vanilla extract, and if you haven't noticed already, the best part about this recipe, other than giving your sad bananas a second life, is the fact that we're making everything in one bowl. Like, you can thank me later for the less dishes that you'll have to do in your life, okay? I'm just using a touch of coconut sugar. Gonna add that in there, and then some maple syrup. It's gonna really give this nice, warm, golden flavor to these oatmeal bars. Now that I've mixed all my wet ingredients together, I'm gonna grab my oatmeal, the star of the show. It's about to be super glamorous. Add it straight in here, along with some cinnamon. I love cinnamon, I think it's amazing, but you can totally use another spice if you want. You can use maybe a nutmeg if you like that better. I'll leave that choice up to you. And then some baking powder. And then, I'm gonna mix everything together. Make sure everyone just becomes friends in here. Make sure we grab the edges, the sides of the bowl, incorporate it really nicely. It smells so good. Just wait till it's done baking though. That's good stuff. Okay. Now finally, this is a bit of the dessert for breakfast moment that I like to really capture in all aspects of my life, the chocolate chips. Just gonna fold these in. I will add, I don't measure these with anything but my soul. That's just how I choose to live my life, but again, you live yours the way you wanna live yours. I'm gonna fold that in, and you're probably wondering, like, Sama, why do you have some of these left over? Because I wanna save some for the top. Because for me, it's not less is more. When it comes to chocolate, not a thing for me. Okay, folding this in nicely until all the chocolate chips are just really nestled in there. We want them to be cozy. Okay, perfect. Now, I love myself for being prepared. We've got our parchment lined pan, and I'm just gonna add it straight into there. So flip this up. I don't know if I mentioned this, but this is my workout for the day, this movement right here. All right, so we're gonna add this straight in there. Get everything out. Scrape the sides. Oh my God, I cannot leave that chocolate chip behind. That would be so sad. Okay. And then I'm just gonna spread it out throughout the pan so it's nice and evenly distributed. Okay, because I am me, I'm gonna add some more chocolate chips on top, just for aesthetics. I like to take nice photos of my food. It's also really fun to make it presentable and looks pretty, too pretty to eat, but not really because we will be eating it. Okay? And then the last thing that I wanna do is add a banana on top. This is again, purely for me to have some nice aesthetics for my photographs, and that's fine. That's again, how I choose to live my life. So what I'm gonna do is just cut it right at the tip of the banana, slice it straight through, like this, okay? And now, I'm just gonna peel this off like I normally would. And then you've got two perfect halves of banana. Pretty easy. I'm gonna lift this straight out and I'm gonna place it on to my bars, like that. And then the other half. And then I'm gonna add one more for the middle. Go ahead. And again, I have a piece of oatmeal on my finger. Really didn't want to be baked. Okay. And go from the top. Slice it straight down the middle. Peel this guy off. Look at that. Add that straight in there. We're gonna nestle it down nicely. Wants to feel secure, wants to feel at home. And now I'm just gonna add a little dusting of cinnamon on top, partially because I love cinnamon and partially because I want it to look really nice. Okay, now we're gonna take a little journey in the oven for about 22 to 25 minutes. Let's go. All right, hope you enjoy your time in there.
Sometimes the news can be difficult and overwhelming for kids to understand.
Will coronavirus come back next year?
So to help make sense of it all, we've created a newscast just for them. Man, you know a lot. We hope your family will watch Nightly News Kids Edition. Talent and perseverance, inspiring America.
I've been preparing for a moment like this for my whole life. I have lots of songs and lots of stuff to share.
I want to show my daughter what it's like to overcome adversity.
So many reasons to cheer for that young lady.
NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Today. Future's looking bright.
Are you ready?
We're going to do our part to spread the word on the importance of vaccines, so crucial for reopening America.
A big day around here, a very special naturalization ceremony.
Many of them doctors, nurses, other essential workers.
If you are a nurse, thank you.
Spring has sprung, guys, and we want to fill this season with some fun and surprises.
Yes.
This is the face of excitement.
Celebrating Earth Day.
Let's change the world.
Love it!
All right, we've let it cool for about 10 minutes, and now, see, this is why we love being prepared with the parchment paper. We get to just lift this straight out of the pan, and then there's no oatmeal bar that's been left behind, like that. Okay, so the best thing about these bars, other than the fact that we're saving so many bananas' lives, is that they're super portable. So I'm just gonna slice them into little bars. You can take them on the go. You can just also have a nice sit-down oatmeal moment at home. You choose whatever you'd like to do. I love the corner piece. I'm just one of those people. Don't know why. Just crispy and caramelized on the edges, it's so good. Look at that, delicious. And now remember these chocolate chips that I had saved for the top? See, this is why. I'm also gonna add just a little bit of powdered sugar, just to get that nice contrast. A little bit there. Just on the rest of my bars. It's really pretty. Oh, what a little heavy-handed over there. Okay, so now I'm gonna take a few pictures of it, because I didn't put that powdered sugar, that banana, those chocolate chips on for nothing. All right. There we go. I'm really getting the shot. Little video. Get the inside. Okay, you know what? I think we got the shot. It's my time to taste. I'm pretty excited about this. It's so good. You know what's really nice about this as well? It's not too sweet. So it's really great if you'd like to even add a little drizzle of honey on top, maybe a little more peanut butter, almond butter, whatever you have to kind of create this nice sit-down oatmeal moment at home. It's like banana bread, but it's a little more textured from the oatmeal, and then you've got the chocolate chips that are totally giving it this like cookie dough vibe. I would eat cookie dough for breakfast, and I am kind of. Delish. You know, this has inspired me, and I have a lot more ripe bananas in my kitchen, so I think we might have to make my banana cream cheesecake. I'm gonna go grab the ingredients.
Good morning. Welcome to Today. Future's looking bright.
We are going to be cheering you on all the way.
Hoda is going to renew their vows right here. Cheers to you.
New meaning to the expression rise and shine.
I'm rolling up my sleeves for science, so I'll survive if I contract this virus. For family dinners, family vacations, family anything, for traveling somewhere beyond my living room. And for the Rebels, there is no greater feeling than being in the stadium and cheering on Ole Miss. And now it's your turn. Roll up your sleeves, America. Plan your vaccine, because every shot counts. Visit planyourvaccine.com and make your plan.
The Meet the Press Chuck Toddcast, free wherever you get your podcasts.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
The Meet the Press Chuck Toddcast, free wherever you get your podcasts.
Okay, do you want to know something crazy about this cheesecake? You don't have to bake it. No ovens are involved. We're just gonna pop it into the freezer to make it, which kind of means it's a cross between an ice cream bar and a cheesecake. Two things I really can't live my life without. So let's make it. The first thing I'm gonna do is prepare my pan with some parchment paper. So what I'm gonna do is just line it straight into the pan, and I'm creating these flaps on the sides so that it's gonna be super easy to lift the cheesecake up after it's done freezing. Just like that. And now it's ready for our crust to find a home in it. So this crust is gonna be really nice and textured. It's gonna be a little crumbly, it's gonna be crispy. Because it's gonna have a really nice creamy filling to go on top of it, I wanted to create that contrast. Everything is gonna come together in this food processor, starting with some raw almonds as the base. This is gonna give that really nice crispy, crunchy. I'm just gonna scrape down the sides just to make sure nobody is caught, nobody is left behind, and process it again. We're looking good. We want it to be crumbly, but there's also gonna be some of those pieces that remain. Now it's time to just pack it into our pan. Okay. Oh no. This is precious crust, precious cargo. We can't waste any of it. Now all I'm gonna do is just press it into my pan. Like this. And you wanna make sure it's evenly distributed throughout the entire pan, and you can kind of see that it's sticking together as I tend to pack it. This is gonna serve as a really nice home for our creamy, luscious cheesecake filling. It's gonna be really happy sitting on top of here. We don't want the edges of this pan to feel unloved. We want the crust to be in there too, so make sure you get those corners as well. Okay. I think this looks pretty good if I ask myself. We're done packing the crust into the pan, and now I'm gonna go grab the ingredients for our filling.
Our week-long journey begins here in Orlando, Louisville, Kentucky, Cleveland. Our Across America journey reporting on an America rebuilding and reimagining a future after the pandemic. Good evening tonight from Geneva, just hours away from his historic summit. Over 16,000 unaccompanied children tonight in custody. What's victory look like in this, or what does improvement look like? It's going to be a challenge to meet that 70% goal. Why is it so challenging?
NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
Talent and perseverance, inspiring America.
I've been preparing for a moment like this for my whole life. I have lots of songs and lots of stuff to share.
I want to show my daughter what it's like to overcome adversity.
So many reasons to cheer for that young lady.
NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt. For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Sometimes the news can be difficult and overwhelming for kids to understand.
Will coronavirus come back next year?
So to help make sense of it all, we've created a newscast just for them. Man, you know a lot. We hope your family will watch Nightly News Kids Edition.
The Meet the Press Chuck Todd Cast, free wherever you get your podcasts.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
The secret about this cheesecake filling is that it's actually made from cashews. They're super rich and buttery, so they're the perfect ingredient to make really creamy sauces and fillings like we're gonna do in this cheesecake. But to get it there, we need to first soak them. You always want to make sure you're starting with raw cashews. These are completely raw and unsalted. And you can either soak them overnight if you have patience and time, or you can do what I did, flash soak them for 1 hour in hot water until they're nice and soft. You are not going to believe how creamy this cheesecake filling is going to be. We're starting with our raw and soaked cashews, going straight into our blender. Right in there. We're following it up with some coconut milk. I'm using full-fat coconut milk here. We're not messing around with the low-fat kind. Perfect for a really rich and creamy cheesecake filling. And I think this is a really great time to mention that this is a non-dairy recipe. I don't know if you've noticed, but all of you non-dairy folks out there, rejoice because this is for you. Using this to catch the seeds. At home, you can even just put your fingers underneath the lemon and then catch the seeds in your hands. Little DIY. And then to balance everything out, balance that sweetness, bring it out a little bit, I'm gonna add a little pinch of salt. Okay, now it's time to blend. Okay. You just really cannot believe it. It's so smooth and so creamy. I want to show you a little peek. Look at that. I'm going to taste it a little and see if I think it needs anything. Taste a bit. I'm going to add a little more lemon juice and a little more salt. You can totally adjust this to your liking. I just like a little more zing. and that salt's gonna really bring out that sweetness. Okay, we're gonna blend again. Grab my fresh spoon and taste one more time. Perfect. All right, now it's time for this filling to find a home on top of our crust. And there's no dairy in this. Kind of crazy. I'm gonna grab my spatula. This is precious. You can't waste a bit. Now I'm just gonna make sure that's nice and smooth. You can even tap it a little bit to distribute it like this. Shake it around, make sure it hits all the edges. Now, I like to pretend I'm Picasso a little bit with the toppings. You can use whatever you'd like, but I'm gonna use some sliced almonds straight on top. Sprinkle them around. I'm gonna do a little bit of cinnamon. Okay, a little more. And finally, just a little pinch of flaky sea salt. Okay, don't be mad at me because now we have to wait a little bit. We're gonna put this in the freezer for 5 hours, but I promise you it is going to be worth it. Now I'm just gonna cover it with some plastic wrap so that it's protected and it goes into the freezer for its kind of long journey. And then it's ready. See, patience is so worth it. I'm so excited about this. Just gonna remove my plastic wrap. Look at that. We almost don't deserve it. All right, this is why the parchment paper flaps are the best. We just lift it straight out of the pan like this. And now all I'm gonna do is slice them into little cheesecake bars. What you can also do is slice them into fingers as well if you want more of a bite-sized snack. I'm gonna go ahead for the full picture, the full bar. Look at this. I just have to show you. Can you believe that there's no dairy in this? Looks so creamy, right? That's for me. This is my slice. I am so excited to dig into this. All right, here I go. It's simply not even fair. It's so creamy. It's such a great way to use the nearly perished banana that's been sitting on your counter. Creamy, you would never have any idea there wasn't any dairy in this. You know what? I really wish I could eat all of these myself, and I probably would, but I'm gonna be a little nice. I'm gonna send a picture to some friends and see if they wanna have some. Yes, they usually do. No one really ever says no. I mean, why would you? Wouldn't make sense, it's so good. I think I'm gonna deliver some to their houses. I'm such a good friend. Ready? Okay. Yeah, we're gonna go after you. Okay. Okay, Sue. Guess what I brought you? Your favorite banana cream cheesecake. I made it for your birthday.
Oh, this is my favorite. Thank you.
You're welcome. I did the same like date and almond crust that you like. It kind of does.
Could be breakfast.
Let's get a smoothie on top of it.
2 Dadas eat.
2 Dadas eat.
Dada eats.
2 Dada eats. Dada eats squared.
Dada eats.
Eh? Dada eats is.
We are back. I'm Anthony Contrino, and it is time to get saucy. We've got a brand new kitchen and new episodes coming your way this summer. Tune in to Today All Day, Mondays at 11 a.m.
I feel like the luckiest girl in the world because I feel like I got to watch you grow up.
Yes.
I mean, I saw you when you were a teenager and now you're knocking on 24. How do you feel different now at this age?
I feel like I've gone through a lot more. I've let my emotions kind of shine rather than before. I feel like I buried them.
Let me tell you something, that takes courage.
Yes.
Because it's easy to keep things in.
Very.
What is the feeling when you say something scary out loud, when you give it voice?
It feels kind of freeing, and it feels nice to know that I'm not going through these emotions alone and other people out there are feeling them too, so I don't have to feel so hidden.
Yeah, saying it out loud is one of the bravest things. I think it's the same with
Yes.
dreams. You have
Yes.
to whisper them, even if it's just
Yes.
to yourself in the bathroom mirror. When you were little, did you always believe, like, I could do this? I could see myself here?
No, I had no idea because coming from foster home and everything, I loved jumping like on the trampoline, on the couches, flipping in the front yard, but just for fun. And I didn't even know about the sport of gymnastics. So once I kind of entered, my goal was to be a collegiate gymnast, if that. And then I kind of pushed my boundaries past that and wound up at the Olympics.
Your whole life has changed. So you have your own house.
Yes.
Boom. You have your own boyfriend.
Yes.
Boom. And you have 2 puppies.
Yes.
I mean, how has life changed for you?
Yeah, life's changed drastically. I feel like getting a dog was a good step to adulting because I had to take care of someone other than myself. And now it's like my dog, my boyfriend, myself. So it's a great thing to juggle because I love doing it. And I thought getting a dog would give me something to be responsible for. And I think that was a great start. And now I have 2 and I love it. And I can't picture my life without my dogs.
Are you a good dog mom?
I'm a great dog mom. I'm probably too much of a dog mom.
I weirdly just pictured you as a mom in this
Yes.
moment. Do you see yourself doing that down the road?
Eventually one day, but I don't see it soon.
Yeah. Yeah, down the road.
Yes.
Throughout our interviews, you always say things that strike me and hit me in such a way. And I remember you said to me once when you were real little and you were living with your biological mom,
Yes.
you said there was a cat, a stray cat.
Yes.
And you said you were mad at that cat because that cat was getting fed
Yeah.
and you weren't. Tell me about that now, because
Yeah.
now you're reflecting on that many years later.
Yes. Well, I still don't like cats, probably for that same reason. But now I feel like I'm very grateful. I was adopted by my grandparents, not my parents, and now we have plenty of food. I feel like I've never gone back to feeling the way I felt in that moment whenever I was younger, so I feel like it's good that I've let go of those past angry emotions.
To remember that as a kid,
Yeah.
to remember being
a lot.
hungry is a lot for a little girl.
Yes.
How did you carry that for so long, Simone?
I think I compartmentalized it and I never really thought about it until I got sat down.
You were a kid. Do you still love it like you loved it then?
I think it's a different kind of love because whenever you're younger, it's so freeing, which it still is at this age, but I feel like there's a lot more responsibility that comes with it, and there's a lot more that I want to accomplish rather than whenever I was little. I was just flipping and it was fun and there was really no responsibility.
I have to tell you something, Simone. You always kept the fun in gymnastics.
Yes.
You always did it. Every meet, you were cracking up. I'd watch and you were dancing. And some of the other girls were like rigid, but you always kept a hold of that freedom.
It always kept me feeling loose, and that's my way to concentrate, because if I weren't like that, I would always overthink and I would stress myself out or psych myself out. So that was just a way for me to get in my own groove and prepare myself.
And that has not changed.
Still hasn't changed.
Thank God.
I feel like now I'm throwing bigger skills. It's like, girl, you need to stop dancing and concentrate. But I just feel like if I do, I'll overthink. So I still have some sort of looseness before I go.
You are throwing bigger skills.
Yes.
What are you doing? You could do exactly what you did and probably be standing on that gold medal stand if you didn't up your game a little bit. So I guess my question is, why not go with tried and true, what you know will work?
Because I feel like I had more to give, and I wanted to see what I was capable of and see how far I could take myself through the sport. And so now I'm doing things that were unimaginable to the sport and even for myself. And it's honestly crazy, but I'm really excited because I feel like I've pushed my limits.
Now, I was watching an interview with your coaches, and they talked about one of those moves that only men have ever done, and they're dangerous. They flat out said you could hurt an ankle, you could hurt a leg.
Right.
So why are we doing that one again?
Because I'm capable of doing it. That's the crazy part. We've sat down and we've discussed it, and at first we played around with the skill. Then the postponement came, and we're like, wow, we can train this seriously, and I can do it safely. And so that's the thing. And even with nerves, and once I get up there and adrenaline, I go a little bit harder. So if all goes well, fingers crossed, we get to compete it. But it is very dangerous. But it's also part of the sport. The sport is dangerous. Walking across a curb is dangerous.
Is that how you see it?
Yes.
You've always lived your life that way, haven't you?
Yes.
You can't
trying to be fearless.
Yeah. Well, you are.
Yes.
There's only a handful of people on the planet Earth I get to say this to, but how does it feel to be the greatest of all time, the GOAT?
I feel like I don't. I just do me whenever I go out there, and whenever it's time to shine and have fun in front of a crowd, that's what I try to do, because at the end of the day, I feel like I still have to pay tribute to those before us that paved the way for me to be in the spot that I am. And now with the social media presence, it's obviously helped. So for me, it's just exciting, and I'm just doing what I love and sharing that with the world.
I mean, you're driven. How is it that you stay motivated and keep that fierceness?
I think it's more stressful whenever I go out and compete, because I'm trying to be better than I was at the last meet. So I'm trying to beat myself, and sometimes you get caught up in that moment, and it's just scary. And I'm like, can I do it again? Can I be this good? And can I repeat what I did last year, last time, last Olympics? And I feel like that's what motivates me, is to strive to be better than I was before, because of all the doubters or even all the supporters. It's a thrill.
Are you beatable?
You just never know. If I'm at the top of my game, I feel like it would be very hard.
If I had a vote, I would say, no, girl, you are not beatable.
I mean, I've had bad meets and I've still come out on top. But then again, you still see me down on myself because I know I could do better. But I haven't lost since 2013, so.
But who's counting?
Who knows?
We are.
Yeah.
Girl, we are pulling for you all the way.
Talent and perseverance, inspiring America.
I've been preparing for a moment like this for my whole life. I have lots of songs and lots of stuff to share.
I want to show my daughter what it's like to overcome adversity.
So many reasons to cheer for that young lady.
NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
Sometimes the news can be difficult and overwhelming for kids to understand.
Will coronavirus come back next year?
So to help make sense of it all, we've created a newscast just for them. Man, you know a lot. We hope your family will watch Nightly News Kids Edition.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Today. Future's looking bright.
Are you ready?
We're going to do our part to spread the word on the importance of vaccines, so crucial for reopening America.
A big day around here. A very special naturalization ceremony.
Many of them doctors, nurses, other essential workers.
If you are a nurse, thank you.
Spring has sprung, guys, and we want to fill this season with some fun and surprises.
Yes, this is the face of excitement.
Celebrating Earth Day.
Let's change the world.
Love it!
some people look at you, Simone, and they're like, wow, she was so talented as a little kid, and she was talented, and her whole trajectory was smooth,
Yes.
smooth, smooth. But I remember a story you told me. You were at a meet, and it didn't go well. It was a bad meet, and you knew it. And you overheard a coach saying, do you know why she crashed like that?
Oh, yeah.
She crashed because she's fat. And how did you get past that?
Well, I cried and I was very upset just at the comment, but I was more upset at my performance. It was actually my former coach. And it wasn't Amy, by the way.
Yeah.
It was another coach that we had. I was really upset, but it made me want to do better. And ever since that moment, that meet, I kind of kicked into the right gear.
I like that you're more focused on your performance than the comments, because often the comments get in the way.
We live in a world where social media presence is kind of run, and you see all the comments and the backlash, and it does hurt because I feel like at the end of the day they forget, yes, we're athletes, but we're also human beings and we have feelings too, so we just try to ignore it. And I have a great family surrounding me in a circle.
I remember one time you took on some haters who I can't even believe they're out there, but I remember you said, this was I think after the Vogue cover or something, you said, well, wow, I guess if it weren't for these thighs and these calves, maybe I wouldn't have a bunch of moves named after me. And I was like,
yeah, because they want women to look a certain way, but that's not possible. How do they think we go out there and win those medals? It's just, sometimes it's a double standard, I feel like.
You have basically essentially said this would be your last Olympics, and then you hear the news that Tokyo is postponed. Take me back to that little tiny moment. How did you learn about it, and what did you think?
I was actually here in the gym, and we were about to go to bars, and I went to check my phone, and my brother had texted me, and that's when the news of the postponement or the Olympics wasn't going to happen. And I just felt really sad, and I was putting on my grips, and I remember just crying, kind of like tearing up, almost crying. And Jordan, one of my teammates, was next to me. She's like, are you okay? And I was like, I just don't know if I can do this. Like, I'm really torn. Because in that moment, I had never been so ready and prepared to compete so early in the season and so on top of my game. I was like, how am I supposed to get ready for the postponement whenever they're gonna relay that?
What was bugging you the most? That you would have to keep training, that you would have to, could you keep it up? What were you thinking about? What were those things?
I didn't know if I could keep the same kind of stamina going and my body in shape for another year, and to be on top of my game for another year.
And you'd also have to be working with USA Gymnastics for another year.
Yes, and that's what kind of tore me apart. Another year working with USA Gymnastics, that's what I really wanted to be freed from.
Why do you not want to be tied down with USA Gymnastics?
Because out of all the good memories I have, I still have anger towards them, which is hard competing because I'm still the only survivor still competing under them. And I feel like they've let down so many of us. And so I don't want me being out there competing and winning, them getting the glory for it, and that being a part of them as well.
What do they still need to do?
They still need to do so much. I feel like they still didn't do a correct independent investigation, especially with the USOPC. They had rope and grays, and they didn't conduct an independent investigation. So that's like already a letdown for a lot of us, and it's hard. So just trying to move forward, you want to start with a clean slate, but I feel like there's still so much baggage I'm carrying along the way, trying to move forward myself.
You know, it's interesting. I've thought about Rio a lot since all of that came to light, and I still think that you stood out there. Allie Raisman stood out there. One by one, you all stood out there, and you won gold after gold after gold. And we had no idea the bag you were carrying, that heavy
But I
bag.
feel like we also didn't ever bring that to surface or to light because you compartmentalize, and that wasn't on our mind when we were going out there. You know, it was my first time at the Olympics, Allie and Gabby's second, and then Lori and Maddie's first as well. So it's just like, we were just gunning, and we had that one goal in mind.
Some people take pain or trauma and they carry it forever. They never speak of it. They put it in a place and they go. You almost did that. You almost took it with you and did not speak of it again. But something made you say the words out loud. What was it? Why did you?
Seeing my friends come out, I know the type of pain that they felt, and even though I compartmentalized it, it slowly started to creep into everyday life, and it started affecting how I lived.
In what way?
Even whenever I was on tour, I was terrified to stay in a hotel room. I was kind of terrified of men, of going to the doctors. I had so many different fears, and I started having really bad like panic attacks and anxiety, and I was just really stressed out all the time, and nobody could really figure out why. And even I didn't know why that was surfacing, but then once I said the words out loud, it kind of all came together, and that's the reason why I was like that, which a lot of people don't even know except for my close family because they were around me the most. And they were like, she's just acting weird all the time, she's sleeping a lot. It's like something was going on, and it feels like you go on a high and then you crash, but it wasn't the type of crash that was just exhaustion from the Olympics and tour. They could tell it was different.
I remember you said that you slept a lot. If I remember it right, you said it was the closest thing to death I could do without harming myself.
Yeah. Yes, because I didn't want to walk and go through everyday life feeling the emotions that I felt and knowing my friends and other women have suffered through that, and there was nobody to stop it. I feel like that hurt the most.
Right.
Is they knew and they didn't do anything to stop it, and it could have all been avoided.
Who was the first person you told out loud?
My mom.
The other thing about you, there's so many things I love, but you're never defined by your trauma.
Yeah.
Never have been. It's part of you, but not all of you.
Yes, which at first I was afraid to say those words out loud, and I was afraid to put that out on social media and let people know that they're not alone, but this is what happened to me, this was my experience, and we're gonna be okay. Because I thought that was what was gonna define me at the end of the day.
And what did you learn?
That it doesn't, and I had a lot of amazing supporters and people saying me too, and knowing that I wasn't alone, but my story helped them as well.
Simone, 50 years from now, people will say your name. What do you want to be remembered as?
Hopefully for taking the sport to higher depths, and also for making a change for the newer generations to come so that they feel comfortable entering the sport.
Good morning, welcome to Today. Future's looking bright.
We are going to be cheering you on all the way.
Oda is going to renew their vows right here. Cheers to you. Cheers. We've been watching Chanel bust a move all morning.
New meaning to the expression rise and shine.
Jenna, nearly 2 miles in the air.
Your Gampy would be so proud.
Oh, thank you, Al. Good morning, welcome to Today. Future's looking bright.
We are going to be cheering you on all the way.
Oda is going to renew their vows right here. Cheers to you.
New meaning to the expression rise and shine.
Our week-long journey begins here in Orlando, Louisville, Kentucky, Cleveland. Our Across America journey reporting on an America rebuilding and reimagining a future after the pandemic. Good evening tonight from Geneva, just hours away from his historic summit. Over 16,000 unaccompanied children tonight in custody. What's victory look like? It's going to be a challenge to meet that 70% goal. Why is it so challenging?
NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
Tonight, we're on the scene as the urgent search for survivors is underway after the deadly collapse of a high-rise building.
Buildings don't fall down in America like this.
The Delta variant. What does this mean for people who are fully vaccinated?
NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
Do you have any concerns about the Olympics going forward in terms of safety and all that stuff?
No, I think they'll be taking the right precautions. It is a little bit nerve-wracking going into another country and having everybody come just because of the virus, but I think if we take tests and we sanitize and we take all the right precautions, we should be okay. That's at least we hope.
When you tweet, things happen.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, you tweet something and it happens.
Yes.
Sometimes you tweet things about USA Gymnastics. There's a change that happens. You tweeted about the ESPN picture of all the goats, and there was like a little tiny Serena Williams in the back. I didn't know it was her, and you were like, hey, no. Picture comes down.
Right.
Are you careful about what you tweet and what you don't tweet? Because stuff happens.
It's so crazy because at first it was just kind of in the gym world. And so if anybody needed anything, they would text me and be like, well, if Simone tweets about it, it'll happen. So we need Simone to do it. And so it became like a running joke. But at least people listen. But it is very strange now.
Yeah.
If I go on social media, I do have to be a little bit careful because I have a bigger impact than I think I have.
Right. Do you feel the power of that?
I do, and sometimes it's fun, but it's also very, very scary. So I have to be wise with what I put out there.
So do you think that this Olympics, Tokyo, even though it is in 2021, they're still calling it 2020.
Yes.
Is this it, or does Paris 2024 have a nice ring to it?
Well, it is a little bit closer, so the gap seems not as scary, but I think going into this one, we'll have to see how it goes, but I am getting up there in age. I'm 24, so I'm hoping if it goes the right way, I'll be happy to walk away from the sport.
So if things go well in Tokyo, you think that'll be your last?
I think
Otherwise,
so.
you may, the door is cracked, it's not closed.
Well, my coaches are also from Paris, so it'd be nice to end with them, but in their hometown, but I don't know. You just never know.
Let's go back to when they postponed the Olympics. You took off, I don't remember how many, 7 weeks or something like that, to just hit pause. What was going through your mind during that 7-week period?
To be honest, nothing. Obviously, I was scared that the Olympics wasn't going to happen during that 7-week break. But ultimately, I knew that if they were to postpone it, I was going to take a break anyways. So it was kind of nice to have the 7 weeks to kind of just sit and relish in my own emotions and not have people tell me how I should feel about the postponement of the Olympics. And it was the first time probably in my life I got to decide and feel on my own time.
That's an interesting observation.
It felt really nice because most of the time something happens, you know, my family texts me, call me, or I'm just there with my family. But since my parents took it very seriously, I wasn't allowed to see them, go to their house, nothing. I really didn't have anybody like down my back telling me, it's gonna be okay, you're fine, this and that.
Yeah.
So I really got to go through all of the emotions, happy, sad, angry, annoyed, anxious, whatever that was.
All those things, wow. Now, some people may be watching this Olympic Games and said, oh, 2020, 2021, what's the difference, you know?
It's a big difference.
Yeah, explain that for people who aren't athletes, who don't quite get that.
It's the conditioning of your body and making sure you're still healthy for another year because anything could happen. So for us, I was just super nervous because 1 year on a gymnast's body is kind of like you fast forward 5 years with all the wear and tear because we are a 365-day sport minus a couple days for holidays. So it's just crazy.
How does your body feel?
Let me tell you, last year it felt better. It felt better than this. It's a year less of training on your body, you know? You know, people are like, oh, it's not that hard. And it's like, you're saying that to us and we train 34 hours a week, but you can't even get yourself to work out 2 days a week. Come on. I think you have to look at it at a different perspective.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true.
Because most of those people don't even work out and can't get themselves to work out.
Right.
And their New Year's resolutions are to work out and they can't do that. And they're like, oh, she's complaining about 1 more a year.
It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
the grueling wear and tear. And what?
Yes.
How does your body feel differently this year than it did last Olympics, just in terms of how you move, what you do?
I feel like my recovery time is a little bit slower, and I'm a little bit slower to take turns, like one after the other. Love my naps now.
How often do you take a nap?
Every day, even on days off. I can't miss a nap.
Tonight, we're on the scene as the urgent search for survivors is underway after the deadly collapse of a high-rise building.
Buildings don't fall down in America like this.
The Delta variant. What does this mean for people who are fully vaccinated?
NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
Sometimes the news can be difficult and overwhelming for kids to understand.
Will coronavirus come back next year?
So to help make sense of it all, we've created a newscast just for them. Man, you know a lot. We hope your family will watch Nightly News Kids Edition.
What ultimately made you decide to come back and do the Olympics?
I knew I had more to give to the sport for myself, and I felt like I had a purpose, and now I feel like I do, and it's to be a voice for the younger generation, and I feel like I've done that, so I feel like just God called me.
I need a little more on that. What do you mean he called you?
I just feel like everything that happened, and after I came out with the news, if it were to be anybody, I had to come back to the sport, to be a voice, to have change happen, because I feel like if there weren't a remaining survivor in the sport, they would have just brushed it to the side. But since I'm still here and I have quite a social media presence and platform, they have to do something. So I feel like coming back, gymnastics just wasn't the only purpose I was supposed to do.
You came back for that other reason. I didn't know that.
I don't think I knew it either, but I feel like gymnastics wasn't the only thing I was supposed to come back for.
When will you say mission accomplished when it comes to that part?
I feel like they have a huge list because they still haven't checkmarked the things we asked them to do years ago, and it's like we just want to put all of this pain behind us, and you guys don't want to do that. You just want to carry it and keep avoiding it. So I feel like the biggest things is we need to know who knew what when and do an independent investigation. Right. It would be hard to have your own lawyer find you guilty. So we asked for them to conduct one, and they still didn't do that. And it's not necessarily we want that to get people in trouble, but people need to be held accountable. And you have all these women and some male that need to put this behind them, and we can't do that without closing the chapter.
You're not going to rest until this is over.
No, and good thing it's not just me, it's a lot of us.
Do you think about your age?
Girl, all the time. The kids remind me how old I am every day. I'm almost 24, and I'm like, wow. Actually, yesterday we were in practice, and they're like, Simone, how long have you been doing the sport? And I was like, 17 years. And they're like, I'm not even 17 yet. Some of my teammates aren't even 17 yet. And I'm like, thank you. Thank you. Now you know how I feel. Now you know how I have to sit down after every turn. And you guys just bounce back up. And I'm like, to be young again.
I can't believe 24 is considered old in this sport. Now, I didn't realize this, speaking of your age, you were not born when the Magnificent Seven won the first ever Olympic team gold in the U.S. in '96. But was there anybody on the Magnificent Seven who inspired you?
Not until I got a little bit older and I really started studying. I wouldn't say studying, I would say paying attention to the sport, and that would be Dominique Dawes and Dominique Mucciano, and we actually gained a really good relationship. So yeah, she kind of helped me through that process of being an amateur and then being a professional athlete.
Were you starstruck when you met her?
I think I was a little bit, but I always tried not to be starstruck over people because then after I won Worlds, I know how it felt. So to treat them like normal people and with respect. So it was just nice to sit down and talk to somebody with that much experience.
Yeah. Simone, I adore you.
Thank you.
I adore you to the moon.
Thank you.
Hello and welcome to Consumer Confidential on Today All Day. I'm NBC News investigative and consumer correspondent Vicki Nguyen. Tune in each week for insider tips on the products and services that make an impact on your daily life. This week, we look at how common beauty treatments can go horribly wrong. Plus, are skincare products like LED masks worth the hype? And what you should look out for when buying designer. Results you want and scratch.
Even celebs like Brandy Glanville, who shared on YouTube saying she had laser hair removal on her upper lip that paralyzed part of her face.
My face on the right side doesn't move the way my face on the left side moves.
I had age spots that drove me batty.
45-year-old Whitney Wingard first heard of a procedure called IPL photofacial from a neighbor in her Philadelphia suburb. The intense pulsed light treatment promises to lighten dark spots on the skin.
So her face looked great. She'd gone to a local spa. She recommended I try this place.
What did your friend tell you it would feel like, and what did it actually feel like?
So my friend said it would feel like an elastic rubber band, like if someone were to take a rubber band and snap it on your face. And it felt like that times 100.
What happened when you got home? What did your face look like?
It was very angry, like red and swollen. And I could already tell it was like stripes on my face, like red, angry stripes. It hurt too.
Whitney posted these photos on her blog to warn women about the risks associated with IPL treatments. She says the spa owner offered to try and fix her face, but she declined. We reached out to the business for comment, but did not get a response.
I've seen women with bad outcomes from so many different procedures, IPL being one of them.
Dr. Amy Wexler is a board-certified dermatologist. She performs about 50 facial procedures a week and says she doesn't use IPL photofacials because the results don't last as long as a laser treatment.
What do you tell women who are considering these procedures for their face?
Don't just read one little article or listen to one friend. Gather information, look up that person, do some research.
Dr. Wexler says before you let anyone touch your face, ask questions.
It's important to ask, have you done this procedure many times? How many people have you treated? Have you ever had any complications? If someone says no, that's weird. There's always a potential for complications.
A lot of times women are attracted to deals for these products. What do you say about that?
I say you shouldn't go for a deal for your face. And I think that if something sounds too good to be true in terms of it being really inexpensive, it probably is too good to be true.
Whitney, who used a discount coupon for her treatment, ended up spending $1,000 with her dermatologist to fix the striping. More than 2 years later, she's still on the mend.
Man, that's awful. So let's get us some takeaways here.
For sure. Well, Whitney does say that she takes some ownership, right? That she should have done a little bit more of her own homework. But it's very clear there are certain questions you absolutely have to ask before you get any of these procedures done.
Okay.
The key is when you go into the esthetician, what are the certifications? How long have they been doing it? This is an important one. What happens if I have complications? What will you do? How will you take care of me? Very, very important. On the flip side, they should also be asking you questions before you sit down in that seat.
They don't know anything about you.
They don't know anything about you. That's a major red flag. If you get there, Chanel, Dylan, Craig, and they just say, lay down, I got this. That's a moment for pause. They need to say, hey, how often are you in the sun? What other products are you using on your skin? They need to get to know you before they do anything to your facial skin.
has been a long year.
Yeah, where it's been anything but normal.
Well, now there's hope. The COVID vaccines.
I know. It's been a little confusing.
Like really confusing.
So it's more important than ever to make a plan. Visit planyourvaccine.com
to find out where and when to get your vaccine.
What are you waiting for?
Roll up your sleeves and plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Our week-long journey begins here in Orlando, Louisville, Kentucky, Cleveland. Our Across America journey reporting on an America rebuilding and reimagining a future after the pandemic. Good evening tonight from Geneva, just hours away from his historic summit. Over 16,000 unaccompanied children tonight in custody. What's victory look like in this, or what does improvement look like? It's going to be a challenge to meet that 70% goal. Why is it so challenging?
NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
Tonight, we're on the scene as the urgent search for survivors is underway after the deadly collapse of a high-rise building.
Buildings don't fall down in America like this.
The Delta variant. What does this mean for people who are fully vaccinated?
NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
This morning in our Consumer Confidential NBC News investigative and consumer correspondent Vicki Nguyen is shining a light on a skincare trend that apparently is taking off, I've been told.
We never see you jump on board with trends.
LED masks. What do you mean? I'm always on trend.
Always on trend.
I'm always.
He's always in. To like make yourself
But I think
look
this
like
looks
this.
interesting. I'm curious.
Yeah, and
Does
it's
it work?
lightweight, and you're gonna find out. So these are not the typical masks we've been talking about, right? These are called light-emitting masks, and makers say they can really help make a difference, from helping you battle acne to erasing the fine lines on your face, which none of you have, so that's good. But how do they work? We tried a few of them out. So
Why am I the only one wearing one?
Well, because
social media, celebrities lighting up their feeds with LED face masks. Some of the brightest stars looking for a little extra glow. The pandemic boosting the popularity of this at-home skincare treatment.
What's happened with sales of these masks?
Patients are coming in every day asking about face masks. They want to know what more they can do for their skin. We're looking at ourselves, for better or for worse, all the time on Zoom.
Dermatologist Dr. Mona Gohara says these devices are safe and can work, especially those with blue and red light.
Blue light actually can target the bacteria in the skin that creates acne and minimize breakouts. Red light, we know, stimulates, it's a long and fancy name, it's called photobiomodulation, which basically means heat energy being delivered to make changes in the skin. In this case, it's increased collagen production.
LED face masks like these claim to do everything from treat acne to reduce the signs of aging, all with just a few minutes of use every day. And you know what? They're no longer just for famous faces. They now come in a wide variety of different shapes, sizes, and of course, price points. So you know what we did? We bought 3 different masks at 3 different price points to see how they work. We really want to know if they are a bright idea. Super comfortable, very lightweight.
First up, the least expensive option, Myfully's 3-color LED face mask, available on Amazon for $39.99.
There's a button, red light, blue, orange, back to red. Got a real raver vibe going on here. So this one...
You make masks look good.
You're very generous. Do you think a mask that's only around $40 could be effective?
I would say it minimally could be effective. But you know what? It may be better than you doing nothing. And I like the fact, again, it's lightweight.
This one's got 2 pieces and requires a little more assembly, but there's a whole neck thing.
Next, the intermediate option, the Photon Mask by Project E Beauty.
And this one has a controller that plugs in.
Costing around $200, this one features 7 different LED colors and promises results after 4 10-minute treatments each week.
This one is quite heavy. Got a Phantom of the Opera feel going on here. Let's get comfy here. It's got a little timer. I'm gonna change it to 10 minutes. As they say, I'm gonna set it and forget it. I don't want the kids to walk in. I think they'd freak out seeing me wear this thing. So this has got a lot going on. What do you think about something with an extra neck piece?
Yeah. The benefit here would be that you have a little neck piece. You have something else. You have something extra.
This one has a strap that you put around your face.
Finally, the most expensive of the bunch, the Spectralite Facewear Pro by Dr. Dennis Gross, sold at Sephora for $435.
Let's see if I can squeeze it onto my face. Okay, this is tight.
This one emits both red and blue light and says you can start to see a difference after just 2 weeks of 3-minute daily treatments.
This is one of my favorite masks. It's a quick treatment. It has multiple options for the treatments. I like that the area where the eyes are is cut out a little bit more for more kind of protection around the eyes.
While you shouldn't expect a dramatic transformation like this, Dr. Gohara says, face it, no matter what you spend, nothing beats an in-office treatment.
I analogize it to like going to the gym and working out with like a hardcore trainer. That's going to be better than a couple dumbbells at home, right? But both can make a difference.
I'm fascinated.
Yeah, I was fascinated to learn they actually
Craig
have.
is so fascinated.
He's loving it. He's tried every single mask.
Your father.
So these are toys, essentially.
Right?
Yes, that's exactly what it is. I'm just like, you need sunscreen
speechless?
for these? Like, what exactly? Like, because they're not hot to the touch or anything.
No, not at all. And they're best on clean skin,
Okay.
as the instructions say. And Dr. Gohara says realistically, you want 4 to 6 weeks for this to work, for you to notice results. So I'm still working on
notice?
it.
Like, first of all, kids probably shouldn't use this, right?
You know what? She said that talk to your doctor, talk to a dermatologist before trying out. Because for teens who have acne, exactly, the blue light can be effective.
And this thing is for the neck?
That little part is for your neck right there. Lean back. I find it's easiest to do it just when you're laying down versus wearing them because they're kind of heavy, right?
Our week-long journey begins here in Orlando, Louisville, Kentucky, Cleveland. Our Across America journey reporting on an America rebuilding and reimagining a future after the pandemic. Good evening tonight from Geneva, just hours away from his historic summit. Over 16,000 unaccompanied children tonight in custody. What's victory look like in this, or what does improvement look like? It's going to be a challenge to meet that 70% goal. Why is it so challenging?
NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt. For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Tonight, we're on the scene as the urgent search for survivors is underway after the deadly collapse of a high-rise building.
Buildings don't fall down in America like this.
The Delta variant. What does this mean for people who are fully vaccinated?
NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt. For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Good morning. Welcome to Today. Future's looking bright.
We are going to be cheering you on all the way.
Hoda is going to renew their vows right here. Cheers to you.
New meaning to the expression rise and shine.
The Meet the Press Chuck Toddcast. Free wherever you get your podcasts.
Tonight, we're on the scene as the urgent search for survivors is underway after the deadly collapse of a high-rise building.
Buildings don't fall down in America like this.
The Delta variant. What does this mean for people who are fully vaccinated?
NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
Designer duds with designer tags. And the prices so low. Discount retail stores like TJ Maxx and Marshall's selling high-end luxury brands at a fraction of the price you'd expect to pay at a department store. But these goods don't always come directly from the designer. Erin Sykes is a retail expert specializing in brands and pricing.
It's not actually the same manufacturer. It's not being produced in the same factories. They're not using the same fabrics or finishes.
It's called a licensing agreement when a designer sells its brand for use by a specific store. The store makes a product and then slaps that brand on the label. You think you're getting a deep discount on an item that came from a department store, but it was never sold anywhere else.
If you feel misled, like you're getting something that could have been in that fancy department store, and then you find out, no, it's a little bit of a bait and switch, that's where it feels shady.
So how can you tell?
Check out these dresses. They're from brands you'll recognize. This is in Nicole Miller, New York. We have a Tahari right here. And this is Rachel Zoe, selling for $29.99. that's a good deal, a fraction of the price you'd expect to pay at a normal retail store. But here's the thing, you've got to check at the very bottom of the dress. On the inside, there's a care tag, and when you flip over that care label, here are the 3 letters you're looking for, TJX.
Here it is again. And on this one too. That means these products were made only for TJ Maxx or Marshall's stores. But it's not always that obvious.
If you're seeing a lot of colors for the same item, or look at this, a range of sizes, this goes extra small all the way to large, that could be a sign this designer has a licensing deal with the company.
And even then, it could still be hard to tell.
Another thing you can do is take a look at the actual quality of the item. Pick it up, touch it, feel it. For example, is it actually lined?
Check the stitching, the buttons. Try the zippers too. They might not be the quality you'd expect from that brand. Another tip?
Just look it up online. This is the Joie Marquina blazer. I'm gonna type it in right here on my phone, and voila, it comes up. It was sold in a department store.
And don't let the price tags confuse you either. Just because the original price is slashed, that doesn't mean it was ever sold at that price.
If it's a licensed item, there is really nothing to compare it to.
It might not be so transparent in both stores, but TJX, their parent company, told NBC News it's on their website. Some of our merchandise is manufactured for us and some we design, adding the majority of products we sell are brand name merchandise generally offered at 20 to 60% less than retailers' full price. Experts say don't let any of this stop you from getting a good deal as long as you know what you're getting.
Next, more people are getting their groceries delivered. So how do some popular options stack up? And shopping on Amazon, what to look for so the product you're buying is what you expect. Plus, is it safe to use Venmo? We have the answers to those questions and more coming up on Today All Day. Walmart is raising the stakes to deliver all of your shopping needs right to your door with this new service, Walmart Plus. But in a face-off against Amazon Prime, what can consumers expect? From value to variety and speed, we wanted to see who does it better.
During the pandemic, online grocery delivery saw dramatic growth, up 500% compared to last summer. Consumers now have more choices than ever for how to get their household goods. Add Walmart Plus for $12.95 a month or $98 a year. Walmart Plus offers unlimited free delivery. Sound familiar? Amazon Prime offers the same service for a similar monthly cost or $119 a year. Already, the prices are different.
But it's not just about price. What about variety, quality, delivery times? To find out how these services compare, I'm going to shop using one grocery list at Walmart Plus and Amazon's 2 grocery services, Fresh and Whole Foods.
First-time shoppers can try the services for free. Walmart Plus offers a 15-day trial. If you answer a few questions, it goes up to 30 days free, like Amazon Prime.
For our grocery list, we're sticking to the basics: milk, eggs, bread, meats, ice cream, snacks, fruit, and laundry supplies.
Amazon Fresh and Walmart Plus offer a wide variety of brand name products. Whole Foods carries its own store brands, so we order comparable items.
Gotta get the milk. Walmart's got our tortilla chips.
Now we pick our delivery times. For an additional fee, Walmart Plus and Whole Foods could get us the orders sooner, but I select the first available free delivery windows for all 3.
Okay, time to place the orders. Now we wait.
Thank you so much. All 3 arrive within their promised windows, so they're on time. But what about the condition of the items? For Whole Foods,
okay, see what we got. Looks pretty good. Not melted. No cracks. Perfect condition.
Our Walmart Plus order had a few changes.
We didn't order Chunky Monkey, we ordered half-baked, but they had to substitute.
Walmart substituted 4 out of the 12 items we ordered, including a chuck roast instead of the ribeye, and these hot dogs.
We only ordered a pack of 6, but this is a pack of 20. That's a lot of hot dogs.
We got exactly everything we ordered from Amazon Fresh, no substitutions. Our ice cream did come a little bit squishy.
Look, that's pretty soft. Okay, this is kind of weird packaging. The detergent came in the same bag as the bread, so the bread got a little bit smushed.
The moment of truth and the most important question, how much did we pay for each order? Even with the substitutions, Walmart came in the lowest at $58.33. Amazon Fresh, which gave us exactly what we ordered, came in slightly higher at $65.14. The most expensive, Whole Foods, $77.84. The totals each included a $5 tip. Walmart Plus versus Amazon Prime. From a delivery standpoint, for us, no major issues. But when it comes to variety and price, shoppers will see a difference.
Okay, remember to read the fine print. Depending on where you live, these services may require a minimum order amount to get free delivery. In addition to groceries, remember both services will deliver thousands of other household goods too. And if you're ever unhappy with what you get or the substitutions, just ask customer service for a refund or a replacement.
My favorite part of that story was your reaction to the ice cream. We didn't order Chunky Monkey.
Well, yeah, we allowed them to substitute, and they substituted about a third of what we ordered.
Yeah. For the record, I like it squishy. Oda, you're squishy. You like squishy ice cream?
I like it firm.
Me too. Firm. I'm with you.
What were some of the other differences in the services?
Well, so I think it's the brand names. I think that's what people are looking for, right? So if you want that, it's Amazon Fresh and Walmart Plus all the way. If you're okay with substitutions or store brands, then Whole Foods has got just as much variety. It's just not going to be the things that you normally recognize.
So you got the 20 hot dogs instead of the 6.
Yes.
Did they charge you for the 6 or for the 20?
They only charged us for the 6, which was great. We didn't get charged extra, even though we got a bunch more hot dogs.
And you got like hot dogs for the next 2 months.
We are taking a closer look at the products you do buy on Amazon. Now, Nike recently announced it is no longer selling merchandise on Amazon. In part, they want to have more control over Nike products, and they want to crack down on counterfeits.
That move, in fact, underscores what some consumers are asking when they go to Amazon. Very simple question. Are they getting what they're paying for? NBC's investigative and consumer correspondent Vicki Nguyen is here to show us what to look out for before you buy anything on Amazon.
Yeah, good morning to you. A lot of us turn to Amazon, right, to buy all our stuff. It's the world's #1 online retailer. But the sprawling marketplace means quality control can be a tall order. This morning, we're taking a closer look at third-party sellers. They now account for the majority of sales on Amazon. So what exactly is a third-party seller? And how can you make sure the product you're buying is what you expect?
From car seats to creamer, kids' toys to cosmetics, the Amazon marketplace is becoming a consumer jungle where what you see isn't always the quality you'd expect. The concern? Millions of items sold on Amazon by third parties. Those are businesses that use the platform to sell their products. Third-party sellers now make up nearly 60% of physical merchandise sales, double what it was just 10 years ago.
Amazon is set up to be a very reactive system. They make it easy to be a seller. They make it easy to list new products.
Rachel Johnson-Greer worked at Amazon for 8 years as a safety compliance manager. She investigated hundreds of customer complaints and handled product recalls. While there are legitimate merchants, Johnson-Greer says third-party sellers can easily set up shop and sometimes skirt the rules on safety and quality.
Amazon doesn't check on that until there's a problem.
When it comes to third-party sellers, she says the highest risk categories are food and drinks, cosmetics, electronics, and anything for kids, like toys.
What are things that could make children's toys riskier?
Either a physical characteristic, like something that could cause a child to choke, or it would be chemical characteristics.
Like heavy metals, lead and cadmium, or plastic additives like phthalates.
We have some toys that we bought from Amazon that are shipped and sold by Amazon and also by a third party. Thank you, Michelle, for bringing those in. You don't know which one's which. Tell us if you can spot which one is a third-party seller versus the one that was shipped and sold by Amazon.
So this looks like it's heavier, more durable plastic. You can see just how thick these edges are versus these ones. And if you run your fingernail on this side, there's almost no seam. I would assume that this is the nicer product.
This magnetic toy is almost identical to a popular brand, but much less expensive. Watch when she applies just a little bit of pressure.
Oh, you just broke it.
It's broken. Well, that's cheap.
So tell me why that's risky for a child.
They could swallow the magnets or they could cut their fingers doing this. If you're looking at a product like this and they're cutting corners just on this, then what else are they cutting corners on?
But it's not just children's products. We found dozens of consumer complaints on Amazon for food and drinks that were damaged, expired, and spoiled. Just last month, this protein bar review saying it was full of mold. This one for baby formula, damaged product, broken safety seal. And several people complaining their coffee creamer arrived soured or expired. We also found discontinued products like this tea and sugar. all from third-party sellers.
It doesn't have an expiration date, it doesn't have a manufactured date, and it was discontinued in stores.
Correct. So who knows where they got it from, how they got it.
Amazon telling NBC News it removes products and takes action against sellers who don't follow guidelines, using tools that prevent suspicious, unsafe, or non-compliant products from being listed. The company adding it blocked more than 3 billion suspect listings before they were posted last year. Amazon says if there's an issue with any product, third party or not, contact customer service to get a refund.
If you're not sure who you're buying from on Amazon, you can set a filter. It's a 2-step process. First, select the category you're interested in, baby. Then type in the specific item, for example, a car seat. Scroll down on the left side of your screen until you see seller and look for Amazon.com. You're gonna click there, then click on the product, and you'll see it's shipped from and sold by Amazon.com.
But you don't have to rule out third-party sellers.
There are great third-party sellers on Amazon, and they are companies who care about their customer. They make sure to follow the legal regulations and the safety regulations in the United States.
Sometimes the news can be difficult and overwhelming for kids to understand.
Will coronavirus come back next year?
So to help make sense of it all, we've created a newscast just for them. Man, you know a lot. We hope your family will watch Nightly News Kids Edition. Tonight, we're on the scene as the urgent search for survivors is underway after the deadly collapse of a high-rise building.
Buildings don't fall down in America like this.
The Delta variant. What does this mean for people who are fully vaccinated?
NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
Good morning. Welcome to Today. Future's looking bright.
We are going to be cheering you on all the way.
Hoda is going to renew their vows right here. Cheers to you.
New meaning to the expression rise and shine.
The Meet the Press Chuck Toddcast, free wherever you get your podcasts.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
The Meet the Press Chuck Toddcast, free wherever you get your podcasts.
President Biden's secret Venmo account might not be so secret after all. NBC's senior Washington correspondent Hallie Jackson has the details on this one. Hallie, good morning.
Hey, Craig, good morning. It's the app you might use, to split a pizza or pay the babysitter. It's easy and it's everywhere, even apparently the White House, with a new report uncovering what they say is President Biden's Venmo account. That could have national security implications, but experts say it goes beyond the president, with a warning to all of us. Sending or spending money with just the swipe of a finger on Venmo takes almost no time at all. And that's apparently about how long it took for BuzzFeed to find President Biden's secret account on the app.
It took us less than, 10 minutes of looking to actually locate him.
Ryan Mack is one of the reporters who discovered the accounts of nearly a dozen Biden family members, not just the president and first lady, but a social web including children, grandchildren, senior White House officials, and all of their contacts on Venmo. The presidential presence on the payment app, a punchline in late night.
This is like finding out the Pope wears VR goggles.
I didn't even know they had Venmo on rotary phones.
But experts don't find it so funny, since it could present a security and privacy risk to the president and those around him, and highlights the exposure of Venmo's Friends feature.
I could go in and access your whole friends list because that's wide open, because Venmo leaves that wide open.
Is there a way to make that not wide open?
No, there's no way. It's permanently public.
Although you can hide your transactions on Venmo, you can't do the same with your friends list. So why does that matter? Knowing who other people associate with could raise a red flag for someone who really needs security. Teresa Payton was the chief information officer in the George W. Bush White House and warns this affects more than just people who work in the West Wing.
It could be people who are going through a divorce, people who have been in stalking situations, people who live alone and they're worried about sort of their ongoing physical safety and security.
In a statement to NBC News, Venmo says the safety and privacy of all Venmo users and their information is always a top priority, adding they're consistently evolving and strengthening the privacy measures to continue to provide a safe, secure place to send and spend money. While you can't make your friend list private, you can get rid of your list altogether if you want to by heading to your account, tapping on your list, selecting each person, and unfriending one by one. A few minutes effort that might pay off.
In a news statement just this morning, a White House official tells NBC News the BuzzFeed Venmo saga reveals a too common situation, that the default on tech platforms is an oversharing of private information that is difficult to change, adding that the Biden administration intends to strengthen privacy protections so it's easier for people to keep their personal information to themselves. But
request blessing for my family, while His Holiness had a message for America. He told me, pray for the poor, pray for the families. You enter Vatican City, population around 800, through Santa Ana Gate.
Great to meet you.
Good to meet you. Father John Walk, originally from Chicago, lived here for more than 20 years. So this is Main Street.
Exactly. I mean, this is the post office of the Vatican. There's the bank. Down the way is the police station. Of course, across the street from the police station, there's the jail.
There's a jail?
There's a jail in the Vatican, and there's the newspaper. It's an amazing place, really. I mean, it's tiny, but at the same time, it's huge because it's the smallest country in terms of geography in the world, and the smallest population, and yet there's over 1 billion Catholics all over the world who are under its governance.
Who look to this place.
Exactly.
I'm guessing this is the fire station.
This looks to be the fire station.
And this is the fire chief.
Exactly.
Buongiorno.
Buongiorno.
Buongiorno. Andiamo.
Sì, grazie.
Here's the fire pole. Every station should have one.
The station motto of the Vatican says, a day without risk is a day without living. Where everyone flees, that's where I go.
Are there many fires here?
Probably the most famous fire in the Vatican is the fire that burns the ballots when the Pope is elected.
And these are the beautiful and private Vatican gardens. They cover almost half the city and date back to medieval times. Popes throughout the centuries have found peace here in this tranquil haven.
Pope Benedict, the Pope Emeritus, lives right behind where we are right now. Pope Francis, of course, lives on the other side of St. Peter's Basilica. And for the first time in history, there's the chance that you'll run into two popes inside the Vatican gardens. This is called the Casina, the little house of Pius IV, who was a pope, a Medici pope, in the middle of the 1500s. And he wanted to design a place where in the evenings in the summer they could have sort of intellectual parties with learned scientists, philosophers, humanists, talk about themes of the day, but also of classical culture.
The architecture that we're seeing here is an extraordinary mix.
It's a mix of Christian symbols, classical, pre-Christian, pagan symbols. And that's true
really?
So much in the Vatican, yeah. I mean, or the obelisk in St. Peter's Square, you know, it's an obelisk from Egypt that was dedicated to the sun god, but there it is right in the middle of St. Peter's Square.
For 500 years, popes have discussed religion, science, and philosophy in this quiet corner.
A monk was the founder of modern genetics, or Lemaitre, the Belgian priest who came up with the Big Bang. I mean, there's a lot of great scientists who are Catholic priests. And we're going to sit down when we get in?
Inside the casino, there are clues as to what the present pope is like. And there's Pope Francis.
A beautiful painting of Pope Francis, yeah. This picture of Pope Francis with a crowd of people around him reminds me of a moment early in the papacy when, during one of the audiences, he was going by in the Pope-mobile, and he's waving to the crowd, and all of a sudden you see him go like this. And you're like, what is he doing? He's making these symbols.
Making a sign.
Yeah, and then you realize that behind, in the crowd, there was someone with the flag of the San Lorenzo soccer team from Argentina, which is his soccer team. And he was actually giving the score for the game the night before that they had won 2-0.
In fact, modern life can be surprisingly normal around the Vatican. Young trainee priests at the North American College are training today for a soccer match. Pope Francis would approve of us watching soccer.
I think so. I think so. He's a great fan of San Lorenzo, and we're enjoying an excellent game today. And that's part of our life. You know, we don't spend 24 hours, 7 days a week in prayer.
Father Michael Baggett from Virginia, ordained in the Vatican some 3 years ago.
Beforehand, I was able to meet with the Holy Father.
Celebrating Mass with the Pope, a highlight.
The calling to the priesthood was not something that you kind of felt early on in your life?
No, not at all. I grew up as an agnostic. Without any real religious formation. I discovered the Lord as a teenager, entered the church when I was 17 years old, and then a few years later began the journey toward the priesthood. If it can happen to me, it can certainly happen to others.
Coming up, we continue our exclusive access to the Papal Palace, visiting those places rarely seen by outsiders. We're given a private viewing of the spectacular Sistine Chapel and uncover new clues about an ancient Vatican mystery.
What should we watch for to find out whether this Geneva summit was worth it? What would it take for you to support this bipartisan infrastructure deal? What are the issues that the party stands for? That seems to be the missing piece here. If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press.
I'm rolling up my sleeves for science, so I'll survive if I can track this virus. For family dinners, family vacations, family anything. For traveling somewhere beyond my living room. And for the Rebels, there is no greater feeling than being in the stadium and cheering on Ole Miss. And now it's your turn. Roll up your sleeves, America. Plan your vaccine, because every shot counts. Visit planyourvaccine.com and make your plan.
Entering the Papal Palace, protected by the Swiss Guard, one of the world's oldest military units, we go deep inside the Vatican. With us, the keys to one of the world's most spectacular rooms.
Now this is something. Seldom is the Sistine Chapel seen like this.
Michelangelo's glorious depictions of biblical scenes that took him 4 years to paint fill the senses. And to have this sacred space to myself is almost overwhelming. This is the holy heart of the Vatican, where art, history, and Christianity converge.
The entrance to the conclave.
The conclave, where cardinals locked away behind closed doors and in secret select a new pope. Over the centuries, more than 260 popes have been elected. Ballots are burnt, black smoke signaling disagreement, white smoke declaring to the world that there's a new pontiff. Then there are the places outsiders rarely see.
How many books are here?
At present, library holds pretty 2 million items.
The Vatican Library, filming is highly restricted here. Librarian Delio Proverbia shows me this fascinating 1,000-year-old manuscript.
The black writing is dated 886.
The parchment reused, with even more ancient writing hidden beneath. Look at that, you can see the writing underneath the writing. That's amazing. Liturgies for Holy Week, written in the very language Jesus spoke. Ancient manuscripts are also kept in the Vatican Apostolic Archive, once known as the secret Vatican Archive. Everything from information on daily life, from what popes had for lunch over the centuries, to records of the Inquisition and high church politics, like this parchment asking the Pope to let Henry VIII divorce his first wife. The Pope excommunicated him for that. Is it true that hundreds of years ago you could borrow books from this library, but if you were late bringing them back, you'd get a note from the Pope?
Yes.
That's a lot of pressure. History is here, in books, and in the Vatican's glorious architecture. For pilgrims arriving here for the first time, the holy city itself can be awe-inspiring, even overwhelming.
A church like St. Peter's Basilica takes heaven and brings it down to earth. When we're here, we actually feel like we're walking among the saints.
Father Luke Sweeney takes me to the statue of the most famous saint of all, St. Peter. Pilgrims come from all over the world to touch the bronze foot of his statue. And inside this box are 9 pieces of what many believe are the bones of the saint. At a special mass in 2013, Pope Francis displayed them in public for the first time ever. But perhaps the remains of St. Peter can be found elsewhere. A short distance from the basilica, in a quiet Roman street, Vatican expert Marco Politti has something to show me.
Nobody in Rome knows this church because it was always closed.
Inside this forgotten church, near the entrance, is a plaque that claims that St. Peter's remains are here.
Peter, here. Petrus, yes. You see here it's sunt reliquiae ex vestimentis. This means that there are relics of Saint Peter.
Father Don Paolo shows us to the altar and the Roman-era pot that was discovered by accident. Scratched onto the lid the name of several saints, including Peter. What was inside the pot?
There are relics of Peter and other 2 martyrs.
Bones.
Bones, yes.
Did this church hold a secret for 1,000 years? The bones, relics, placed here, some believe, by an early pope to assert his authority during a religious feud.
I think it would be wonderful to see if the bones that were found in Santa Maria in Capella match the bones that were found in St. Peter's Basilica. And I wouldn't be surprised if they're the same.
Maybe one day the bones in this humble pot will be scientifically compared to those found in the Vatican. Perhaps more precious remains of one of Christianity's most important figures. Next, a tradition that billions believe in. The Easter celebrations will take you into the preparations for the Vatican's holiest time of year.
I'm rolling up my sleeves for science, so I'll survive if I contract this virus. For family dinners, family vacations, family anything. For traveling somewhere beyond my living room. And for the Rebels, there is no greater feeling than being in the stadium and cheering on Ole Miss. And now it's your turn. Roll up your sleeves, America. Plan your vaccine, because every shot counts. Visit planyourvaccine.com and make your plan.
It has been a long year.
Yeah, where it's been anything but normal.
Well, now there's hope. The COVID vaccines.
I know. It's been a little confusing.
Like really confusing.
So it's more important than ever to make a plan. Visit planyourvaccine.com
to find out where and when to get your vaccine.
What are you waiting for?
Roll up your sleeves and plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Talent and perseverance, inspiring America.
I've been preparing for a moment like this for my whole life. I have lots of songs and lots of stuff to share.
I want to show my daughter what it's like to overcome adversity.
So many reasons to cheer for that young lady.
NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
What should we watch for to find out whether this Geneva summit was worth it? What would it take for you to support this bipartisan infrastructure deal? What are the issues that the party stands for? That seems to be the missing piece here. If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press.
At the Vatican, they're preparing for the most important week in the Christian calendar, an annual celebration of faith and the faithful. Easter. The first day of Holy Week is symbolized with simple palms, cut for Palm Sunday from the Vatican garden. They will adorn St. Peter's Basilica.
Buongiorno.
Buongiorno, signore.
Look at this.
Wow, from the Vatican garden.
This is special. Right before Palm Sunday is celebrated by Pope Francis here at the Vatican. And of course, this takes us right back to when Jesus entered Jerusalem. He came sitting on a donkey, but what did people do? They took their cloaks, they took palm branches, placed it before.
It really watching the during the do this, washing the feet of prisoners, become an annual tradition on Holy Thursday. And there are inspirational images of the Easter story
beautiful, colorful picture of the Last Supper.
And in Michelangelo's sublime sculpture.
We see Jesus right off the cross, dead, lying in the arms of his mother. That's where Pope Francis will spend some time praying and meditating before he comes out and celebrates the Easter mysteries.
Meanwhile, in the streets, as they have done for centuries, pilgrims arrive in their thousands and flock to St. Peter's Square, like the Kent family from San Diego.
Holy Week begins in what we believe is the holiest place. So I don't even know how to describe how excited we are.
Palm Sunday Mass begins with a spectacular procession of cardinals and bishops carrying palms and winding through crowds in St. Peter's Square. Encountering the Holy Father for the first time is an unforgettable experience. Worship will continue throughout Easter week in song and prayer, resonating through the centuries and repeated across Rome in its 300 churches.
To celebrate Holy Week in Rome, I don't know if it gets better. As Catholics, this is home.
A spirit of Easter alive today in this ancient, holy city, where generations have strived to rise above our earthly concerns. This place can offer us all, no matter your religion, a glimpse of something we all need in our lives, now more than ever. Peace. These are places we may not be able to visit for a while. Come with us as we take you there, into our incredible world. Woo! Jerusalem, Zion, the true shining city on a hill, home to one God, three religions, and many more names. In Arabic, Al-Quds, in Hebrew, Yerushalayim. For Christians, a place of pilgrimage. We are walking where the Bible says Jesus himself walked 2,000 years ago. To visit Jerusalem is to travel back in time, into history, and yet, in this holy citadel, facts and faith are not always friends.
Hello.
Good to meet you.
Good to
Father
see you.
David Grenier from the Order of St. Francis here in Jerusalem meets us at the house where Jesus is thought to have held the Last Supper.
Take this and divide it among yourselves.
When the Romans came, they destroyed the temple and they destroyed this place also. But they rebuilt it on the same place.
The evidence, he says, is in the very walls. This is a city where every stone has a story.
This size of rock could have come from the temple of the most important place spiritually for the first Christians.
And while you can never be confident anything here is what it's said to be, these are, reputedly, the very steps Jesus would have taken on his way to Gethsemane on the eve of his crucifixion. Normally, only the Pope is allowed in here.
The first thing that strikes me when I'm here is how peaceful it is and the torture that Jesus was going through when he was said to be here.
He knew what was coming. The whip and the crown of thorns and the nails. He knew everything, but he stayed here.
And this is where Judas kissed and betrayed him, according to the Bible. The Church of St. Peter, built, some believe, on the ruins of the palace of the high priest, where Jesus was interrogated.
This is where they say Jesus would have spent his last night, the night before his crucifixion, in a dungeon, a cell.
To see Jerusalem for yourself is to truly comprehend how all these biblical events happened in an exceptionally small area. Father David takes me to the old city, where Jesus was sentenced by Pontius Pilate.
Today we see the mosques. In the time of Jesus, it was the Temple of Jerusalem. So in the place where we stand was the Roman fortress Antonia. That was the place where Pilate would have been.
This is the first of the Stations of the Cross.
That's the first station.
So now we are quite literally walking in the footsteps of Jesus.
Following the 14 stations of the cross.
So we've reached the fourth station.
Yes, that's the place where Jesus met his mother.
So this is the fifth station.
Yeah, that's where Simon of Cyrene helped Jesus to carry his cross. Important footsteps over here, because we're entering the Basilica of the Holy Sepulchre.
This is the church which believers say contains the final 4 stations of the cross.
Underneath the altar, we can touch the rock of Golgotha, in the place where the cross of Jesus was.
And the Edicule, thought by some scholars to house the remains of Jesus' grave. For Christians, the holiest shrine of all. The very place, it is said, where Christ's body was brought after the crucifixion.
To come here for the first time and to imagine that this is where Jesus was resurrected, it's awe-inspiring.
Next, we travel across the desert, as did those 3 wise men, to the place where Jesus was born.
Talent and perseverance inspiring America.
I've been preparing for a moment like this for my whole life. I have lots of songs and lots of stuff to share.
I want to show my daughter what it's like to
So many reasons to cheer for that young lady.
NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
Good morning. Welcome to Today. Future's looking bright.
We're going to be cheering you on all the way.
Oda is going to renew their vows right here. Here's to you.
following a star. Masar khair. Good to see you. 2 millennia later, I go stargazing with amateur astronomers Wafa and Dawood. Great place to see the stars. They came on camels, records the Bible, from the east, bearing gifts. Traveling through the desert,
yes,
that would have been the best place for them to follow a star.
Of course.
They were the astronomers of their day.
They were experts in astronomy. They were using the science of astrology.
Like all stories here, there are question marks.
If a star just appears, we can't conclude that there was an earthquake, a birth or a death. That's just mythology.
But according to the Bible, this is where the star guided the 3 kings to Bethlehem. And after 2,000 years, Main Street hasn't changed that much. This may be where the 3 wise men arrived in Bethlehem.
Yes, actually this is one of the oldest streets at that time from where the 3 wise men came to Bethlehem.
It's now called
Star Street.
Star Street.
Star, the sign of the wise men.
You can still buy some of those gifts that the 3 kings brought with them.
They sell all kinds of spices.
Frankincense and myrrh. You have
to light it to burn it, yes.
Right.
Frankincense.
Wow. Look at that.
So expensive.
Oh, this is a gift from kings.
Yes.
Yeah, for a new baby. And the third gift?
Expensive. I don't have gold.
You don't have any gold?
No.
This is the very spot where it's believed the 3 kings came to. Called the Church of the Nativity, it was built some 1,700 years later above what is thought to be that humble stable where Jesus was born. Look at this entrance. You enter through this tiny doorway. But once inside, the detail is exquisite, it's beautiful. From such humble beginnings, this incredible church and incredible story. Today's Bethlehem is beset by conflict, located in the West Bank, flanked by a wall Israel built to section off the Palestinians who live here and prevent terror attacks. But raised every year in the heart of this holy city, the Christmas tree is a symbol with a different message. And at home, gathered around their own little tree, this Christian-Palestinian family will also celebrate Christmas. Do you like Christmas?
Yes.
Why do you like it?
We celebrate together and we have fun and we play games.
The Christmas message, as strong as ever.
That little child who is born every year, he gives us hope. He gives us hope that a better future will be coming.
Hope is the enduring promise of this holy land, where competing stories have brought conflict for thousands of years. The flame of hope keeps burning.
Welcome to Today All Day.
All day?
Today, all day.
All day.
This is a long way of asking who's your favorite character you've ever played?
The unicorn. The unicorn. You gotta have the unicorn.
What is she right there? That's why you're saying all these nice things?
Yeah, you gave me the look. Sorry to disturb your day. Everyone's mad at you, Willie.
Better make this fast. I don't want the wrath of Luna.
When I see you, I always think, I wonder what his quote would be.
Give us 6 minutes and we'll ask as many questions as we can.
My buddy Cal cooking with me.
Dads don't babysit. It's called parenting.
What was the first book you remember loving?
Heart Smart Today, with simple exercises to strengthen your heart.
Make the most of your beach days.
It's all about the tracksuit now. How good do they look?
I now pronounce you husband and wife. Kiss the bride.
This morning, a story of people helping people.
You've received tons of letters from people who have been inspired.
Let's do the weather out. Okay. All you gotta do is say, it's cold, it's warm, it's raining, it's snowing. That's it.
Welcome to Today All Day.
Hey, Hey there. We are here in Tokyo. It's nighttime, but we see you watching Today all day, any time of day.
Yeah, we love that you joined us. Welcome to our little digital show, Today in 30. We've taken it on the road for a few weeks. We've got another Olympic-size show for you.
We sure do. We've got some medal winners from Team USA with us, starting with